Welcome to today's podcast, and it's all about how to pitch your business to investors. It's going live across LinkedIn as we speak, and we should be joined by a cast of thousands, of which maybe only about 20 or 30 will actually get through the door at any given time. That's how we roll, but you're always welcome to be part of it. We're broadcasting live, we're recording it now, and I'm going to be sharing with you as much as we can in the next 60 minutes. So welcome to Speak on Stage, a live edition. And here we are, live broadcasting across LinkedIn, hopefully, and having a cast of thousands coming out to play. It's always really weird. I'll tell you what it reminds me of. I'm joined by wonderful Debbie Gray. Good to see you, Debbie. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Great to have you joining us. I'll tell you what it reminds me at the beginning of when we first start broadcasting. It's like that, you know, Michael Jackson's Thriller. I mean, probably going back 30 years ago. When he starts walking through the graveyard and one by one they all get up, and the zombies, and start following him. It feels like that every time I switch on, because that's the nature of broadcasting when you go live on LinkedIn. You know that it's sending out a message to everybody saying, here we are on LinkedIn, Dave Crane's live, blah, blah, blah. And then people have to choose whether to click it or just to go back to Netflix and carry on watching Three Body Problem, which is my favorite new show, which is mad. It's done by the guys who did Game of Thrones. It's completely different. It's all about science fiction, but it's got all the twists and turns and stuff that you like. So anyway, if you just joined us, nice to see you. So far, we've got Mark in the room. I know we get more than that, and we've got loads of stuff to go through about how to pitch your business to investors. In a few moments' time, what I'm going to do is ask everybody just to post that we're going live. In fact, let's do that now, and hopefully we'll get more people doing the same thing. So I'm just going now to my broadcast. If you just joined us, I'm not ignoring you. I'm trying to get as many people to join us as possible. So if you can share on your LinkedIn, just saying that we're going live and you should join us, or anything similar to that, that'd be amazing. I'm just going to repost it to the feed. That's the button that I press, and say, come join us now. And if you do the same thing, then that would be amazing. If you're not sure where it is, it should be inside the comments details, all about the link that you clicked. If you go to the actual event, it says how to pitch your business. It's got a picture of me working with Boston Dynamics, I think it is, who make those robot dogs that I'm so scared of. I didn't bring one at the time because that was about 5-6 years ago, and they hadn't been invented. They were just in somebody's head. And below there, you get a chance to say share. There's a share button, a blue one, and just press that one. There's two blue ones, one that's a slightly lighter blue, one that's a dark blue that says join. You've obviously pressed join to come out to play. Just press a share one and get out to as many people as possible. If you can do that for me now, or for us now, we end up with more people joining us in the early stages. And the reason that that's important is then I don't have to spend so much time trying to look for more people to join us. And also it means that we've got a bigger brain trust of people contributing and joining in the conversations, which is always fascinating. Dunia, good to see you. I know you'll be joining us on stage later. That's amazing. Marsha and Hope as well. Hope, we're going to try and get you on, but I tell you what, if your internet is still as dodgy as it always is, then put your details in the comments, and Debbie will be able to join us and give your comments and read them out to me, because I don't press any buttons when we're live, because if I press any buttons, sometimes I go missing. I think it's been set up so it's almost like a trap door underneath the speaker. If you press any button while doing it, apart from bringing people onto stage and off stage, this is the laptop version, and then they just kick you off a broadcast, which is always a challenge, but never gets boring. Debbie Gray, how are you today? Your mic is muted. You have to press that button to bring you back on to come out to play. Oh, Debbie's disappeared. She's had enough. Wow. There we go. Must have been
yeah, LinkedIn. You gotta love LinkedIn.
So you had the same challenge then, pressing the wrong button by accident. It's not just me then.
No. So I won't be leaving this page.
Right, good. Well, in that case, we're in the same boat. So anybody who joins us who wants to do all the admin for a session, that'd be very useful too. Today's session is all about how to pitch for investors. And it's all aimed towards those who have got challenges in their business that they want to sort out financially. But it might not just be looking at the investors who put money into your company. It might be people who support you on different levels. That could be from anything from coaching and mentoring to connecting, to looking at a joint venture, to looking at different ways of being able to grow your brand or get you connected to more people in the industry, or even referrals and introductions, all of which are equally valid. Now, the reason I brought up is how to pitch your business to investors is because in about a few weeks' time, I'll be hosting a big event called JISEC, which is all about internet security. The pitching stage, which means that there's going to be about 30 to 50 small organizations, startups mainly, and a panel of judges. And a panel of judges sits there and starts stroking their chin and going, And everyone gets about 3 minutes to go on stage and sell who they are and what they do with a PowerPoint presentation or just a slide or a video, whatever they want to do. And at the end of that time, they get marked by the judges, who turn around and say the ones that they like best. Sometimes they turn around and say, we're going to invest in you. But most of the time, they just turn around and say, bless you, and pat you on the head. And everybody who goes on stage, I watch them commit the same mistakes every time. And I talk to them beforehand and say, don't do it like that, do it like this. And they go, okay, but they do it like the original way of doing it. So I want to share with you today a few tips that I picked up along the way about how to make it easier for you to be able to reach people and to do that pitch if you want to. Similarly, you don't have to do it on a stage or at a conference. You might be going in to talk to somebody, or you might be pitching online, or you might be putting it into social media and putting it as a post. All of them are equally good, and all of them are valid. And it's good to see Kathleen as well, one of our game changers. How are you, Kathleen? I haven't seen you for ages and ages and ages. I'm sure you've got lots of stories. And the reason that you've been away is because you've been dominating the world and doing incredible stuff. In fact, we need to get on a stage together soon, because that's one of the world's foremost experts and consultants in food and hospitality. You, not me. You may be appearing at Gulf Food or In Flavor, which is the one I'm going to be hosting in Saudi in the coming months. So we'd love to have you on the stages there. We'll talk about that separately. So for those that are here who just joined us, if you can just give a shout out or a share of this particular event, and let people know that we're here, then what happens is it shows up in your feed and people can come and join us, and then it becomes a much bigger gang to go out to play with. We only do this for 60 minutes, by the way. After 60 minutes, then normally my wife, who's not here at this moment, but will be, I'm sure, later on, turns around and says, right, that's it, they're bored now, let them go. And I have to do that because I live in this house and I have to do things I don't like a lot. And Debbie, over to you, because you kind of said hello, and as soon as I asked you a question, you disappeared. Are you pressing the right buttons today, Debbie? Are you okay now?
Honestly, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you to everybody that has joined today. Kathleen, it's always great to see you, and I hope you actually join us up here on stage. So yeah, but Dave, to be honest, I'm interested and really curious to know how to pitch your business to investors.
Thank you. I'll be sharing that in a few moments' time. Let me go through the housekeeping rules, as always, that we have here. And hello to Damaris as well, who's just joined us. Here's the thing. Whenever we do this session, we normally find an avalanche of people wanting to talk just before we finish. And during the early part, they kind of stare, which is okay, because if you've just woken up and you're having your breakfast and you've got better things to do, that's fine too as well. Or if you're waiting to hear how the conversation goes, then you want to ask a question later, that's fine as well. But we do dead stop at 2 o'clock UAE time, which is about 54 minutes from now, whenever we can, he said, lying a bit. But what I will say is, when you do come on and start introducing yourself, let people know, first of all, who you are, where you're calling from, and what it is you want to talk about. Don't do a long introduction about your CV and all the rest of it, and, I did that, and I talked to these guys, and they said this to me, unless that is part of what you want to ask. Maximum a minute, from hello to what do you think? And you can make observations to the team. I mean, I say the team as in everybody, whether you're listening or you're actually on stage. All the above are very valid. And Aziz has just joined us on stage as well. Hello, Mrs. Crane. I hope you're fine today. And I don't know if you're going to unmic and say hi, but we always live in hope of that. Good. And she keeps saying, I got messages she sends to me, by the way, text messages saying, right, you're talking for far too long, get him to ask a question. So before I do any of that opening up to the floor, there are lots of buttons that you see at the bottom of your phone or the bottom of your screen, and all you have to do in those is press the one that basically says stick your hand up, or you can press the one that gives a sort of emoticon reaction, is it? Emoji reaction, that's it. It's the word I'm looking for. And And then you can join us on stage, and we'll invite you up to have a quick chat and find out who you are, what you do, and you can contribute to the conversations. So let's go to where I wanted to start the whole session with, and this is all about how to pitch on stage. I've already given a little introduction about the value of pitching on stage. By the way, we are being recorded, and later on today, this will be live on YouTube. So if you want to come back and pick up all the bits you missed, or you want to share it with your friends, or go through all the different gems and nuggets that we share in here, then you can do. So when you're on stage or when you're talking to people, there's some very, very important things. First of all, I would say, number one, who are you? Get to a point as quickly as you can. I am this. And then what problem you solve. Get onto that, because ultimately people need to work out what it is that they need to know from you, what it is that you do. Once you say you solve this problem, you can then go on to talk about what your product or solution is. Nobody cares about the features. It's all about the benefits. I do this and it fixes this. So if you talk about an elevator pitch, mine would be, I show people how to jump and grow wings on the way down. That helps them to go from invisible and unknown decision making to being seen as one of the best in their industry. And I do that through coaching and mentoring. That would be my kind of introduction if I was stuck in an elevator. And then after that, they'd turn around and say, these buttons don't work, do they? No. Have you got a sandwich? No. We've been here for 3 hours. You won't stop talking about your elevator pitch. Anyway, I digress. So first of all, who are you? What do you solve? What's your product or solution actually do? What is it? And then who you serve. Who are the people that you need to look after? Who are the people that have all the need for it? What trends, what insights can you give towards what those people are after? Remember, this is investors who want to be able to see that you've done all the heavy lifting, because ultimately they're going to be spending money on you and your product, but you. They'll be giving their money, they'll be giving their insights, or maybe they'll be, shareholders in whatever happens next. But it's an audition, it's a chance for you to prove. It's like a dating experience, but hopefully without the bit later on. Show that you're sustainable. That matters now and future. People want to know that you are very capable of turning around and doing stuff that the world is very interested in doing. So right now, sustainability is really important. Diversity is really important. These are things that people look for. Then how do you integrate customer feedback? How can you improve it based on people saying stuff? Because they want to make sure that you are constantly moving forward, and the customer experience is key to this. And then also why you matter. Why do you matter? Okay, you might have a great idea that you think is wonderful, and it might change the world in a little bit, but why does it matter? Why is it going to make a big difference? Who's going to care? Put them front and center, those questions. I'll always be asking more questions, but if you've only got a short amount of time to be able to communicate with a set of investors, then that's what you want to do. Remember, what you want to do is get their interest, so then you can go on to have a proper meeting with them. A pitch is only an invitation to start the conversation going, so that after that you can turn around and set up something more substantial when you will go through all the heavy lifting and all the hard stuff. Does that make sense to everybody? Is everybody happy with the idea of that? You've got an emoticon reaction button that allows you to give a love heart or a thumbs up or a thumbs down or I don't know what else it does. I never press the buttons because I'm scared of it disappearing. Does that cover for everybody on the stage? We're going to talk to Dunya in a second. Debbie, does that make sense to you so far?
That does. But of course, I'm going to be digging deeper into it. But let's first speak to Dunya.
Fantastic. We'll talk to Daniel in just a second. I'll just add a few extra tips to this. Business storytelling is a skill that you need to be able to learn to be able to do this more effectively. If you can tell a story, people enjoy that more than facts and figures. And you can also do a thing called a puppy close at the end of it, which is the then turning around and saying, why don't you try it for yourself? And typically when somebody buys a puppy or they go to buy a dog and they get given a puppy they didn't really want, and they say, well, take it home for the weekend and look after it. And if you don't like it, bring it back. They never bring it back. Why? Because they love the puppy. How would they hand it back? Or they've eaten it. Usually, I shouldn't say that. Usually it's the first one. So be aware of that. And if you are going to pitch, use a video if you can do, because then you can put loads more in the video and show the video and then answer questions afterwards. All right, that's it. Enough from me. Dunya, how are you? We met at Leap about 3 weeks ago, I think it was now. Gosh, time flies past. In Saudi. And we're looking to have a catch-up soon, which I'm sure is all booked into the schedule. How are you, Dunya?
I'm very good. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me today.
Wonderful. It's good to have you here. It's good to have you popping up. What are your thoughts then on pitching? Because we've got a meeting due, and I know nothing about what it is that we're going to be talking about apart from you say it's going to be very interesting, and I'm going to love it. But I don't know. So, can you reveal any more here in front of a cast of thousands?
Yes, absolutely. So let me share quickly. I apologize for my voice because I caught a cold because all of the AC going on in UAE and in Saudi. So bear with my voice. So what am I doing? I'm a mentor and I specialized myself in HI and HT. So what is HI and HT? It's human intelligence and human technology. So what I do actually is I mentor human beings, high performers, CEOs, athletes, whoever I want to work with, to activate their knowledge and their power beyond their physical mind and brain. So that means I create a space for them that they can start to tap into their intuition. What does this mean? This means for them they can accelerate and start to create new things that are not linked to their knowledge, but it's linked to the passion that they have within. And this is how, a simple example, Steve Jobs created the iPhone, had the idea of the iPad. That's what I'm doing.
That sounds utterly amazing, and I know that you use is NLP and hypnosis to bring out the best in people. Is that correct?
Yes and no. So hypnotherapy and mentoring, like NLP, is a basement for understanding the process that we do. But we work in the quantum field, and we use quantum technology or quantum knowledge to allow that process to happen instantaneously.
Right, I'm really intrigued about this. I want you to explain to everybody, because clearly I know, I don't really, all about quantum knowledge and quantum physics, all the quantum elements that you're tapping into. What's that mean, quantum then?
Quantum means that we're going beyond this physical world that we are understanding right now. So actually we are trained and our intuition is tuned into to work with everything we see, everything that we touch in 3D. And sometimes some people, they find the gap and they can go into their imaginary mind. But most of the time, this information is also linked to all the programs that we are running from within. As we understand to go into the quantum field, you also heard some speeches on LEAP, which is like quantum computing. This is the next generation of computer and AI. So we start to come into a space where we are not experiencing polarity. It is where all possibilities and everything exists at the same time. So we tap into a field where we actually can start to choose based on a frequency what fits us, and the most important part, serves our deepest purpose. So the goal is to find your passion in life and to start to act on your passion, because this is a game changer. You can be the best version of yourself if you tap into the quantum field and you start to pick what serves you based on all opportunities that present themselves at the same time.
I love it. Can I add an extra bit to this, because this is something that we discussed before. Vishen Lakhiani, who's a mate of mine who's from Mind Valley, he's got a program that allows you to use quantum. I can't remember, it's called quantum investing or something. But it basically, what it does is it allows you to tap into versions of yourself, like there's a multiverse of millions of versions of you, where one of them has done to a really high level the thing that you want to learn to be able to do. So supposing you wanted to be a singer, or you wanted to be a professor at university, or you wanted to be an inventor, you tap into a version of you and you start taking direct link and cues from a version of you that will have done it. Now, what it means in terms of reality from my point of view, because I'm a hypnotist and NLP master prac, is because your brain starts off as as an incredible computer. You can give it roles, you can program it. So if you said, without hesitation, without imposter syndrome, without any challenges, I want you to act as if you are a multi-billionaire who's created something that's amazing. What choices and what comments and what things would you do that would allow me to guide myself to become more affluent and also get more confidence and so on? And so your brain will interpret that version of you and allow you to start thinking differently. It's almost like you've got a real billionaire mentoring you. Now, that's how I would rationalize it. I don't know if that's the same as what you're talking about. Does that make any sense?
Yes, it gives it a frame, and you explained it fantastically. It goes in the absolutely right direction. There is one very, very important part here. Once we set that intuition, the main part is, where is this intuition or this wish, the idea coming from? We have to have an understanding what is the basement, what is the part that is driving it. If you create that thought and that desire based on lack, that's the frequency you will carry on through this entire picture.
Yes.
Okay? So now we need to come back and ground ourselves, and we need to tap into the heart, because the heart is the most powerful organ that we have. And we need to understand, and now you are going to understand, you have to clear all the limiting beliefs to create a powerful vision. And the vision needs to come from a full heart. So if you lacking money and you say, I'm going to make 100 million a year, I want to become a billionaire, the initial thought and feeling is coming from lack.
Yeah.
You might need it. That's not the thing. You can do it because the laws will act and you can achieve it. But what's the real feeling from within? You missed on that. And there's a personal relationship that you need to have to the cell intelligence within your body. And you allow that to create the process. And to get to that stage, it takes a lot of training. It takes a mindset that is very balanced, that comes from a full heart, that works for the highest good of every human on this planet. As we tap into that, all the selfish and, let me say, the trained goals that we used to create, they will transform into goals. How can I make humanity shine?
Right.
How can we serve?
I'm going to jump in. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Donya, but I want to get a lot talking on. And I know this is a long subject that you and I are going to discuss at length. Let me just throw something in, because I'm going to go to all the guests who got on stage in a moment.
Absolutely.
But what I'll add to what you're saying there, and I love the way that you talk to being about your heart and all about the intention of helping humanity. And I really do agree that that's a beautiful way to do it. The ultimate bottom line in it is where your brain's a supercomputer that will react to the software that you're giving it. So if you say something from the point of view of lack, it's going to amplify that lack. And that's what it's going to work on. So you've really got to be able to find a way of rewiring what you're thinking in your head to be effective, for it to be able to amplify and turn into something. And that's why little tricks, and it's nowhere near the sophistication of a level that you're talking about, but say, rather than saying I'm a millionaire or I'm a billionaire, if you say I'm in the process of becoming a millionaire, then it goes, oh, okay, in that case, maybe we can start noticing things that makes it happen a lot faster. And so sometimes it's the coding you use, but there's a whole process, and there's a whole industry of life coaches and really good people who are experts at how to program your mind effectively. But the system that you're talking about sounds like a really good one. We will discuss it. I think it's this week we're going to get together and talk about it in depth, aren't we?
Absolutely, yes. And I want to share one sentence with one of my clients. He is actually a millionaire. And as I started to work with him, he said, Dunya, you created an amazing shift. I know I am a millionaire, but now I became a lovenaire, and this is changing my life.
A lovenaire. I like that. That's good. I've not heard of a lovenaire before. I've seen a few people who think they are, And a few people have got a bit of reputation, but let's just not talk about them for too long. Let's go to Jeff Price. Jeff Price, how are you, sir? Thank you for joining us. Did we wake you up?
Hello, good morning, everyone. It's been a busy morning here so far. I had a very early start, and I've just been getting myself ready for a trip to London. How are you doing?
Very good. I was thinking of you today because I was watching that TV show last night, which is it's on Netflix. It's the new Game of Thrones about dragons. It's called Three Body Problem. It's a sci-fi thing. It's very cool. It involves a lot of people who were involved in the old show, but it's got a special ministry that's been set up to fight aliens. And I was thinking of your Ministry of Justice, and I was imagining you walking into, a government building, and suddenly the doors lock behind you, and armed guards with like Kevlar coming. I'm looking forward to seeing the pictures. Of course, you can't take pictures officially and all the stuff, but you're going for your operation, aren't you? Is that what happens tomorrow?
No, it's happening on Tuesday. I kept getting the day wrong. I knew it was the 26th, but it's Tuesday morning at 7:30. So we've just got our fingers crossed that everything's going to go fine. Meantime, I am for today, Mr. Lover. Thanks, Dania, for your insights and sharing all that amazing stuff. That was just wonderful.
Book a room. Stop flirting with the people on the panel, Jeff. Stop it. I know where you live.
I've got a little something to say about pitching, and I was given the opportunity to pitch for something that was really a dream for many years and something I'd been working on. In fact, from the moment I stepped into Great Ormond Street Hospital back in the early 1990s, I then had this vision to create a radio project for kids and families. And from that moment on, every bit of work that I did worked towards that. And then in 2012, I was given that very opportunity. I was asked to pitch for this multi-million-dollar project. And I went in full of passion. And I think that really sold it. I so believed in the product, the project itself, and there was a lot of humanity involved in this as well, Dania, so you'll be happy about that. It was for the want of doing what is good and what is right. And within 2-3 minutes of the pitch, the person I was pitching to closed my laptop and said, "Jeff, you've just provided us with our missing link for the vision for this country when it comes to children and families." I couldn't believe it. And that was a successful pitch.
Jeff, I've been involved from the side as your friend watching this entire experience. Can I add, with your permission, a cautionary tale about what can happen next?
Oh, 100%, Dave.
Okay.
100%. Yes.
So I'm going to say this, and it's no disrespect to Jeff intended in this at all. I've known Jeff for like 30 years. And when Jeff first met me, when we first arrived as DJs in Dubai, he'd always said that he wanted to run a radio station for kids. And even when he was running radio stations around the UK and the UAE, his eyes were always on the prize of how can we create something that's great for kids. So eventually Jeff got his dream, and he got it funded, and he was made to be the boss of it, and all the things that go with it. It was just the best ever. I came to visit him, and he had this brilliant radio station where people could walk in, kids could be interviewed, pop stars could come along, the community could be involved, all the things you'd want. But then what happened was politics jumped in, and people saw this and went, "This is very good, makes me look good, I'm going to take it back." And to my knowledge, and tell me if I'm wrong, you ended up in a battle that you weren't prepared for, and it was completely unfair because your passion was about making it work for the people, and the people who watched it create success all started a grab for resources and for the control of a station. You weren't ready for that. You weren't treated well enough by that. Unfortunately, you had other challenges as well, and you were left hanging out to dry. And we've never talked about this before, and I think it's a very important thing to bring up, not just because I think it's important to see, but I think it's very important that that whenever you go out and you do stuff, you cover yourself legally and make sure that you know who you're talking to when you go out and do it.
That's absolutely right, Dave. I'd looked at this project with eyes wide open, and from the very beginning, I actually wanted those who gave the backing to really back it fully. But from their perspective, they wanted to see the proof in the pudding, if you like. They wanted to see that it did what I said it was going to do. And that's exactly what happened. And they basically then acquired it. From then on, there was a lot of politics involved, to say the least.
Yeah, let's not talk about it too much, Jeff, because of the fact I still live here.
No.
And so on.
I just want to say, Dave, that I just want to say that I think had I not been taken so unwell with a curveball of that going, then I was kind of prepared for the eventualities. Going into this project or any project that you want to launch, you, like Dave says, you've got to go look at protecting it. I'd looked at all of that. I'd looked at trying even to get it covered in the UK legally and all kinds of other stuff. You do have to go with your eyes wide open, and you do have to expect the unexpected. But in terms of pitching, I simply went in with so much passion and belief, and kind of ready for any questions, that it was a successful pitch. And I think that's all I'm going to say.
No, I know we could talk about it forever, and I think if you hadn't had the medical issues, you'd still be running the station now. But let's go now to Debbie. I think Debbie wants to jump in. She's been dying to say something. So Debbie, great. The floor is yours.
Go, Debbie.
Yay! Thank you. Okay, firstly, Jeff, all the best for Tuesday. Everything will go well. So, yeah, just relax and enjoy the ride.
Thanks, Debbie. Thank you.
Dave, what you were talking about was with Vision Lukiani is the quantum jumping, if that's correct, with Bert Goldman, and he also does Ultramind with Jose Silva.
Right.
Which is all about the quantum level and the rest. And I think what I understood from what Denier was saying was heart and mind coherence. So very much working with the energies, intuition, and yeah, it's so far I'm enjoying all of this a lot. So that was my recap, and that was my interjection.
Look at you with all the big names. You'd be great at Scrabble. I bet you're brilliant. You can come up with all the big terms and win everything.
Oh, stop it. Oh yes. And of course, I'm really curious to know how the lovely Kathleen is doing and what she's going to share on the stage.
Kathleen, unmute and
yes,
introduce yourself. And catch up on what's been going on. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm getting better. I'm Kathleen. I'm a military entrepreneur. I'm battling cancer still for the moment, but hey, I have lots of ideas. I've been recently again a little bit online, so I have massive response the last couple of days because people also see me in real life. So it was really heartwarming. At this moment, we have like the two companies at the Glory of Excellence in Dubai and the HR Devils in Europe. With HR Devils, we are really going ahead, full steam ahead with HR, but HR-driven, data-driven. So we service more than 20 companies till now, and we have more than 25,000 employees that we provide with their data and make sure they get paid on time. For the Glory of Excellence, we are supporting hotels and really superstars in the hotel industry and the Michelin star industry, where we coach, promote them. And I'm a sounding board for them. So happy to be back bit by bit and supporting other people.
We love you, and it's so good to have you popping in and saying hi. I really genuinely mean it. Aziza's not said it yet, but she will say it as well. It's amazing to have you. Come and join us, because you're one of our favourite people. We don't see enough of you, but we love it when you do pop up, especially with your amazing success stories, because you're always making the world turn round and do stuff better. And that comes from you directly, so congratulations on everything you've achieved so far.
Thank you.
So here's a question for you, as an expert on all things business. What things are different about the world when it comes to pitching that weren't there before? Using AI, using technology, using diversity, and also sustainability as part of your pitch. What would you say that people are more interested in now than they were a couple of years ago?
But there is, because I'm working between the two continents, in Europe, there is a strong, yeah, we look at the moment at new legislation. So all the companies here are busy with data. All the data needs to be collected in terms of for the day law. And I don't know if everybody's aware of that, but that's about to make sure we have equal amount of females, guys in the companies, also equal pay. So Europe took the forefront of that, and happily enough, with our company, we are always busy, always choosing for the hard HR. I don't like the yoga mats and the waffle. I like to be really straightforward in companies, because at the end of the day, and more than ever, people are just a part of a long chain, and you need to understand that, but you need to have the basics right. So if you can provide basics to companies so they can move forward, they are all ears for you. Secondary to that, there is a problem with the VCs at this moment. They are changing into, before you could have no product and just pitching it, and hell, they will give you money and your storytelling was okay. Now these VCs, when you're pitching it, you need to have already a proven track record. So that's a big change. Because before you could just pitch anything, if the story matched, and they loved your story, they put money on the table. Now you need to have already a proven record. So that's changing. So money is not, there is still a lot of money in the pitching world, but you need to have a proven record. Otherwise they don't give it to you.
So here's a question for you, because for many people, especially ones that are startups, it's a chicken and egg situation. You cannot have a proven record unless you've actually had investment to grow your business into something, and you can't grow your business into something until you've got that proven record. So how do you actually make it happen?
Yeah, the proven record, what they're looking at is some key points. Are you somebody that keeps on evolving? Can you show that you are a specialist in that domain? And so they really look what you have done. And your personality is very important. Do you have the right people on board? Can you show what you're telling? So yeah, you have to walk the talk. What you're telling us, can you prove what you're telling us is the things you really have done?
So what we're talking about is what I've been talking about forever, which is about creating yourself as an industry icon or a game changer, creating that trust and credibility based on your personal brand, and getting a set of evidence and fans and followers who are there to leverage the position that you say you're good at doing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really changed. So, and I know we always talked about the personal brand, where before, because I was before in the scene, I'm a female entrepreneur, we don't get the money. You see now the track record we've done. I worked on my personal brand, but also the fact I guided so many big companies. It's very important to have your personal brand. Really important.
So now we're looking at it, because you and I have worked together for a little while. Probably from the very beginning, I think, of Industry Icon and Game Changers, maybe 2 years, we've been having conversations all about it. What would you say was the most effective way to open doors and create that trust and credibility? Was it your books? Was it podcasting? Yes.
Strangely enough, was the visibility being in Dubai, because Dubai seems to be classed as a worldwide scene. If you dare to go to Dubai and pack your cases and go there and go in this high thriving industry, it's like, oh, you made it. That's one point. Secondary, creating this podcast we have, because you start creating your voice. And of course, third is my book. And they're really, of course, they're pushing me to write more books, but you need to have the time, of course. So I'm looking into AI tomorrow, because I'm a lot on the road to talk in an AI tool, and then some people that to have my brains drafted so they can write my books, because it makes you more credible. I'm already credible with what I've done in my track record, but having these books, they create more credibility.
Amazing. We've got a colleague of ours who may or may not jump into this group. He's moving to Dubai, actually. He's a very smart speaker and he's into the AI space. And one of the things that he's done is he's created an AI version of himself that's able to speak as him, actually speak, same voice, same words as him. He can create a dialogue where another AI asks him a question, he answers it, and it's a podcast, and it produces 365 different podcasts for the whole year, and he doesn't have to actually speak on any of it. And it gets
Crazy.
this, but it's working, and it's just incredible how when we talk about cloning yourself and there's not enough of you to go around, he wants to put as much of him out into the world as possible, which I understand, but I also worry because as much as you want to have a footprint and an omni channel that everyone can find you, there's also a danger that people can manipulate you or say bad things about you if you give them too many tools or versions of you to play with. Have you come across any of that?
Yeah, I'm really protecting myself in that way. I really go into the niche, and I do the craziest thing is people. Of course, you love to be on the world stage, but the fact I'm really in the niche and I don't say yes to everything, it creates actually even more value for myself. So, and I have the right people around me to protect me and to say, hey, need to be careful for this. So. Yeah, it's a work in progress. You have to be constantly aware, but the world is evolving so fast. Yeah, you can't follow everything, and it's kind of you need to be surrounded with the right people. So you need to be surrounded with a close inner circle, like I always say.
I would definitely agree with you on that. I also think that one of the things that is important about building a personal brand and being able to convert it by being a speaker on a stage with a book to support you and a podcast to reach people is people then will want the real version. They want the you in person version. Now, there's not enough of us to go around, but it does mean that the ultimate way of protecting your brand is only to be you. If you leverage it out too much, then people can twist it and play with it, but you can guarantee that people will respect you if you're the person that they're paying for and you turn up and do the work.
Yeah. Yeah, I do see that, and I'm a bit amazed sometimes because if people really see I'm on the list, even not speaking, but I'm attending events because I support, of course, some fantastic people as well. I'm around. Yeah, people actually look at, oh, she's coming, so we can go and speak to her. We want to see her in real life. So just because I want to speak and hear what she has to say, I'm a bit amazed by that because that's happening, a lot the last year. So I do know people follow me, but yeah, it's still work in progress for me, Dave. You know that. So especially I can't speak too much on stage for the moment, but yeah.
Fantastic. Well, we're all work in progress. I'll be coming back and chatting to you on that in a bit. I want to ask Jeff Price. So, Jeff, you were a household name in the UAE, and the older members of us will still remember you on stages and you doing the shows and even being in charge of radio stations out here. I want to ask you, when you went back to the UK, how much has your brand followed you? And of that experience of what you had in the UAE, was it better to open doors by saying, I've just come from Dubai where I was running radio stations and so on? Or did you get the opposite where people turn around and say, oh, I bet you think you're great. Well, you're back down to earth now when you arrived in the UK? Because I'm fascinated to see how you navigated it, because now you're getting those calls again.
That's a great question, Dave. And actually, due to the medical scenario, I had to come in very gently, if you like. However, I kind of picked up the baton after a couple of months of being here. And ironically, it was the UAE that was reaching out to me. But then the conversations began, and it was, to this day, can you sprinkle a little Dubai gold dust on this, that, and the other? So I think the brand of Dubai, as successful as it's been, it is like a marketing machine. And everybody who I speak to, when they hear that word, that name Dubai, and then they hear of what we have been doing there, the conversation just takes off it's like a rocket taking off. It really is.
That's amazing.
And I find myself having to kind of try and stay humble. For a lot of people, Dubai is very much the dream, and I do get people saying, "Well, what on earth are you doing here?" But from a business perspective, yes, they are asking for a little Dubai magic, please.
Right, we've got.
Can you bring?
I'm going to jump in there, Jeff, because I want to make it fair for everybody. Not all related to Dubai, not all been in Dubai, not all got that on our CVs. There's lots of people from all around the world who are joining us on this podcast, and everyone's welcome, by the way. And if you want to speak and you want to join us on stage, then just stick your hand up, and if we can, we'll get you onto the stage to be able to speak before we finish. Today's all about pitching. The show is called Speak on Stage, and we want to get as much as we can done in the next 15 minutes or so before we end the show. Now, here's what I want to throw at the panel, as well as at the audience, possibly, is, okay, so you've lived in Dubai, you go to another country, say, I'm based in Dubai, people go, ooh, shiny, because there's so much great PR done about Dubai. But I don't believe that that's the only reason that people would have an interest in working with you. There are certain lessons and certain things that you need to be able to tell the world that you're very good at doing, but Dubai helps you, because obviously we got all the driving force of the marketing that goes with it, but you can do it from anywhere in the world. What would you say are the key elements, and that's to anybody who's on stage, that travel overseas? So when you start talking about who you are and what you do, doesn't matter where you're from, those are the things that people go, oh, that's amazing. I know that books are important. I know that podcasts are important. I know that getting an impact amongst the people that you reach, fans and followers, is important. But could we break it down to actually some elements that anybody could reproduce and start working towards creating right now? Does anybody want to jump in with an answer to that on stage?
I would like to, yes.
Ebbs.
I would actually say that it would be branding. It would be the branding that you do online. So how you are visible, how you're showing up. Because for me, who I am in Zambia is very different to who I am in the UK. So between those two worlds, it's very different dynamics, and yet it's similar, but there's still an online presence.
So can you talk us through the different versions of you? Because here's a challenge. It's still the same you in both cases, but people want different things from you, and you've got to be able to wear a different hat or act as a different version that they then get appealed to.
Well, the version of me that is in Zambia is more, even though I started my business career there and my business coaching there, it's more now hypnotherapy and more in the spiritual realm of things, energy healing, that type of stuff. That is what I'm known for in the people that seek me out there. Whereas here in the UK, I found that hypnotherapy is not as easy to become known for, because I wouldn't know how to start promoting myself. So I promote myself as a business coach, because that to me is what I'm easily good at and what I know. So that is what I'm now sought for in the UK, is as an online business coach.
But so you've got hypnotherapy in both camps. What is there a way of, rather than having two different hats, of making it so that you just do one set of content, position yourself as one thing, and both sides would equally buy in? Because it's a lot of stress to do different versions depending on where you are actually broadcasting.
No, I agree. It's not easy to juggle. However, I've got a huge online presence on Facebook, whereas LinkedIn is where I'm building up the business coaching side of things. So they're two separate worlds, and both of them are bringing me in an income. So for now, it will transition into one. For now, it's just doing what it's doing independent of each other.
Fascinating. So with that, it's coming down to a couple of areas about branding, which is to work out the version of you that people would want to be able to find appealing, they find trust and credibility, but it's also finding a version of you that satisfies who you are for yourself. So you don't have to feel that you're stepping up and doing a fake thing for everybody else. It should really be that you're almost just a transparent version of you. And this is what I live, I breathe, and this is what I do. And I hope it's of interest to you. And I think that what we're seeing in many cases, not all cases, at some of the highest levels of industry, is when you see those big hitters, you know what you get whenever they're getting interviewed. I mean, when you look at something like, for instance, Elon Musk, love him or hate him, you know you're going to get the Elon Musk version of whatever he says. And sometimes his sponsors or his supporters or his stakeholders will be cringing, and sometimes they turn around and saying, that's our guy. But he's got an ongoing way of creating that challenge to the world, which is, this is me. Jeff, you've been with us for a long time. I love that you're heading off to London now for your interviews and amazing stuff. We all wish you the very best of love, and thanks for joining us on the short time that you're on the broadcast for. And your stuff is always appreciated.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week, and may it be a profitable one. Have a good one, everyone. See you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff. Profitable is my middle name. It's not really, it's Maxwell, but I wish it was. So
Can I comment on what you just said?
Yep, go on.
Okay, so for those that are making billions and are known for what they're known for, great. However, for me, it's the hypnotherapy and the spiritual side feeds my heart. The business coaching feeds my family. Does that make sense? So I'm happy to do the both, because they appeal to different sides of the world that I am providing to.
That's a really, really interesting point, because one of the things we've talked about at length is the importance of having a side hustle. And a side hustle would be brilliant, because if you want to change your jobs or you need to get extra income, lean into your side hustle and maybe even step it up to being a full hustle or a full-time job if you lose your main thing. But sometimes these side hustles can just be there because they're a part of you that you need to appeal and need to look after, like writing a book or doing a charity or I don't know, whatever it would be, something you really love that's a part of what you do, but it doesn't turn into a cash necessarily, but it's an equal part of you. And sometimes I think with the context of what we looked at earlier of why people would want to invest in you, that version, that side of you really does appeal to the diversity, the sustainability, the interest in what the world is doing. It doesn't have to be financially making money, but it shows there's a side to you that has that personality that you care about. That gives you a fully 3D rounded version that still investors would like to tap into. I'm going to throw this to Kathleen, because Kathleen is probably at the forefront of talking to decision makers and sheikhs and governments about how things should come together financially. But ultimately, they keep coming back to you because you are the real deal.
Yeah, it's like I try to explain to people, because like I said, we have like the two companies, the HR Devils and the Glory of Excellence. With the HR Devils, that's the cash cow. There we really, that just generates the income we need. The Glory of Excellence is my passion. I live, eat and breathe hospitality, but that needs so much investment of ourselves. So because the hospitality, and if you look at the whole industry in Europe, it's an industry that the hospitality does not earn a lot of money. In Dubai, it's a different story. But here I have more investment of myself, where I have like my company, HR Devils, providing that money flow to support all this young talent, to guide them, to create this podcast for them. So, and that's what investors like to see in my personality, is that I do have the passion for people. I do have the passion to put people in the spotlights, and that not everything has to earn the hard cash flow. It's about how you there for people, and how you are the real authentic you. So like Debbie, like you discussed, for me, the Glory of Excellence is really living my passion. Devils is really, it's really the generating money machine, like we say, how you need to, but it's also, it's also busy with people, but in another way. It's hard work. It's constantly day to day being present. So but people feel my passion. Even I flew Wednesday to Europe, and I had a guy sitting next to me, and he was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I was telling my story, and he's like, he took a notebook and he said, I get like real coaching here, just sitting next to you with your passion. And it was a guy that was actually having a bakery in Belgium. I don't know the guy, but that shows that with very little things I can give them, that people believe in what I'm doing. Also the high-end investors in Belgium, also what we do in Dubai. Yeah, I walk the talk, and I have a passion about what I do, and people feel that your true passion.
We can hear it in your voice as we speak. I hope you gave him an invoice when you got off a plane as well at that time. I know.
Not everything is billable, Dave. Not everything is billable,
No,
no?
I know, and I was going to move on to that as the next section. But before I do, I'm going to say to Hope, we haven't really got time to see if your internet's working or not. What I would like you to do is just tap into the comments what you want to say, and then we'll read it out, because sometimes you've got challenges of internet. It takes about 3 times as long to be able to understand what it is you're saying when the challenge is there with the internet. If you type it in, we'll answer your questions and read out your comments. So here's what I wanted to throw at you, Kathleen. I wanted to throw it to all the panel that's on the stage as well. When you're talking about working and you've got a brand and people respect it because you've been around for a while and you've got a proven track record of all the stuff that you do, how does that start off a new generation of young people who don't have the same business knowledge, same savvy necessarily, the same experience, but they've got to hit the ground running because in a much more connected world? What advice would you give them to be able to start up? Because we always have the challenge of saying, oh my goodness, we've got to work out how to use AI and new technology, whereas they would live and breathe it. But there's lots of things that they haven't got that we do have. What would you suggest for the starting point for young people starting up their own business and how they can get their brand to move faster?
Well, maybe you know, you don't know, I'm also a lecturer in universities, and I always take the last year. So I've been teaching the last 3 weeks, and I do explain. I love to share my knowledge, but I also said to them, I'm getting old. I'm getting 50. I said, for the digital world, I'm an old tart. And I say it like that, and they're looking, oh, she calls herself like that. And they're like, I said, yeah, you need to give me, I also want to get inspired from you guys. How do you work? And because you're so open to get that conversation with these people, you seem to get the connection. And I love to share my knowledge, but they also love to share their knowledge to me, so it can combine something. Next to that, what I also do is, again, I walk the talk. I have the business with my daughter, and my daughter is literally next to me when, like, she's been with me Thursday evening out, and people say, oh, that's the daughter. Oh, we see her now and then. So working with her, it's another generation, also shows that I'm open to work with the younger generation and to listen to that younger generation, because I hear from my environment, women that I work with that are my age, they say, how can you do that? Work with these youngsters. And it doesn't work. It does work, but you need to be open to listen to them. You need to be open, and you need to surround yourself with the people that have knowledge that you don't have. I have a lot of knowledge, but there's things I don't know neither. There's things I'm not good at. So I'm not tech savvy anymore in the way that they are tech savvy. So I ask them, explain it to me. And if it's too hard work, I say, oh, you want to do this for me? So yeah, that's, if you are open and you surround yourself with the right people, you move forward. You move forward and be bloody honest. I can't do it. Yes, I can do it. That makes it work for me.
I hear exactly where you are with this. If I have a technical problem, of which there are many, my first port of call is to hand it to my wife, who's brilliant at going, oh, first of all, then tap, 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 there you go. And the next one is my daughter, who actually knows more than either of us, but she's more interested in watching South Park half the time. When she's not doing that, you just go, oh my goodness. And then she gives you a different version that we would never know in our world, because what we talk about is long gone. Like, for instance, Facebook. You know, I remember when we were on Facebook and going, haha, then suddenly older people got on Facebook because they suddenly thought they discovered it. And what happened with anybody who's younger just left. Why? Because their mom and dad was on and it's not cool anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so
yes,
we need to catch up with what's going on with them. But some people might turn around and say, but that's your daughter. She's got special in because she will one day inherit the business and she's working on it with you now. What about helping people who aren't related to you? Is there a challenge with that? I know you do it at university.
Yeah, it's It is a challenge. For me, I decided for myself, if I share knowledge with people that I don't know, it's through certain channels. It's through university, because I love to inspire the youth. Most of them love my energy as well. So that's a channel. More and more, and Debbie, I'm not in coaching, but I do get people asking, oh, I want you to be my mentor, my coach, but I don't have the time to do that. No, I find if you want to be a good coach, you need to follow some programs. I am good in giving tips and advice for business, but I'm not the coach that they need to have. So once again, it's knowing where your place is. I think that's very important.
I think there's a gap somewhere in what you just said there that AI will fill in those gaps. It's not at that point yet, but if you
No.
created a program or you created a prompt that said, interpret what this expert is saying and explain it in baby language so I can understand what it is that we're talking about. Here's my experience. This is the stuff I feel comfortable with. How can I understand this better? Then within a very short amount of time, you get the results. So I think it's an AI gap that can be fixed quite easily if people can get over themselves and say, right, if there's a solution out there, there's an expert over there who I don't know, but I can do. One thing I'll add to this, because Donia is already, she was talking to us earlier about the ability to tap into a quantum version of yourself. But one of the things I've always said to people is when you want to be coached by somebody or mentored by somebody, if you can't afford their services, or maybe if they're no longer with us, it could be Einstein, for instance, or it could be Bugs Bunny, or it could be anybody that you want, your brain is capable of turning around and you say, I want to imagine what they would say to me. If they were real and they were mentoring me, what would it be? And your brain will interpret a version based on the knowledge of what they have. And I tested this for many years by reading biographies of the people that I would like to have as coaches. I read their stuff, so I knew kind of what they were thinking and where they were going. And I realized that, okay, I might get a Dave Crane version of what they would really say, but it's near enough and it's different to what I would I would think of for me to be able to at least throw it into a bag, shake it, take out the answers that I can use that allow me to propel myself forward. And it's a very useful skill to have. Now with AI, I think it's an easy thing to do. Would everybody agree with that? Is anybody on a panel wants to throw in a comment on that bit?
Oh, yes, Dave. May I?
Of course.
Yes, that's amazing what you just shared. And you need to understand that what you are doing is kind of like an easy version of understanding the quantum field. All the books, all the information that we have out there is different layers stacked on one another or each other. And the moment that you choose to tap into that information, you go into that field and you pick up that energy. So you bring yourself into the same alignment with that energy that, for example, Einstein chose to write his book. So you can create that bridge. And if this resonates with you, you come closer and closer to yourself, who you are, and you start to vibrate on this high authenticity that you carry within. And the more authentic you are, the more powerful you are going to appear to the people outside, like Kathleen, like Jeff did before, like Debbie. When she connects with herself, we become a magnet. And you can talk to anyone. This is being limitless.
I think that one thing that many people have is imposter syndrome and the belief that the version of them that would do that isn't good enough. What's your advice for people to step up their game, feel confidence and the belief that they are worthy to be able to hold that position and talk about that subject to people who are very, very good at their own stuff? What would you advise to them?
I would start for them to say, stop problem fixing, because if you want to start problem fixing, it's a never ending story. Start to tap into what you want and start to focus on what you really want. Where your attention goes, energy flows. All the rest will just come to you.
I love that. And I think it's very effective, and I really think it works as well. We're coming to the end of our session. Unfortunately, it's only for 60 minutes. I've just got a message from Hope, who was going to jump on stage, but his internet's normally terrible, so I didn't let him come out to play today. But he said to me this. Great share. I was hoping to say, as a business coach, I hope to facilitate these insights and apply them so companies and firms will be highly motivated. I specialize in using the right affirmations and motivations to drive momentum and foster growth in order to ensure a smooth, profitable function of the day-to-day activities, which also affects the overall policies of the business. And he believes it's important to exist providing a system packed with data enough to solve complex business projects or branding. I think data, coming back to it again and again, and that's something that Kathleen did highlight, that in the business world, people are turning around saying, that's great, yeah, we love your idea, but can you support it with the data to prove that you can do it, and there's an interest out there, and that if we do invest, that we're going to see a return on investment. I think that there's a lot to be said for using data. Most people don't know how to interpret it, but it doesn't matter whether you know, you just need to be able to get access to somebody or something that does know. Because I think that once you've got that and the evidence is irrefutable, you can end up opening any door that you want. We've gone to the end of today's session. I don't even know where to finish off today, apart from to say that, first of all, for everybody who joined us on the broadcast, it was a pleasure having you here. We didn't get a chance to invite everybody onto the stage, but we will be doing it again the same time next week. And we love having you either in the audience or contributing through your comments, wherever they are, to allow us to then keep discussions going. We have a number of programs that we produce as Speak on Stage that you can see if you want to be a better speaker, if you want to grow your brand, or you just want to join our community. We've got an online community, the Game Changers, which is a membership. We've also got a WhatsApp group where we do 5-day challenges. The next one, I think Aziz and I were talking about doing, is how to create a lead magnet that gets people to see your expertise and join your mailing list directly from creating something that you put out there that people would want, so you can attract the audience that you want. If you're interested in any of these things, the details are within the comment section, or they're within the details of this actual event. If it's not highlighted as a hyperlink, just copy it and drop it into your URL at the top of your web page or browser, and you go straight to the pages that we're talking about. The other thing I would say, there's two things. We're going to leave with a comment from everybody on the panel. But before I do that, can I ask everybody who's in the audience that enjoyed something that was here, including the panel, if you could just leave a comment, a positive, constructive comment about today's session, it really does help. It's very effective for getting people to want to come and join us, have confidence that we're not wasting time on a Sunday, we're actually changing lives. And I do believe that just being part of this community helps you get the confidence, helps you get the connections, and helps you get the belief that you can create exactly what you want just because of the fact you're exposed to amazing people who are proving things that could be done. So if you leave a comment, that'd be really well appreciated. So as we kind of come to the end of today's session, I'd like to go through the panel one by one and get them to share their advice or some comments on what came up today that they'd like to be able to leave with as something that they will work on for the next 7 days, no pressure, and maybe come back to us and say, yep, I worked on that and that really worked. So there's a commitment to that. Either make a comment or leave a pledge on something that you'll be doing for the next 7 days based on what your conversations were today. I'm going to throw that first of all at Dunya. You're new on the panel. So what are you going to work on?
Thank you so much for taking the time and sharing all your wisdom with me. I loved every comment, and I got inspired to start to work on connection because I was thinking I can do everything alone. I was working one-on-one with my clients and was hiding inside my magic rooms. And today I really got inspired as well by you, Kathleen, by Jeff, to go out and just connect with the world and help everybody to get a better version of themselves. So that's my task now.
Fantastic. When is it we're talking? What day is it we're having our chat?
It is Monday, but maybe it's going to become Tuesday. I think I need to reschedule, but it's very close, 1 or 2 days, Dave.
Okay, I can't wait to catch up. And thanks very much for joining us, by the way. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Kathleen, over to you. It's a pleasure having you on board. And every time I talk to you, I'm making notes in my mind, if not writing them down, about the amazing thing you're doing. So So apart from the health challenges, which we always love you and support you and will help you in whatever we can do, what are your thoughts and what's your homework for the next 7 days?
My homework for next 7 days is I'm busy finishing off the blueprint for our own AI tool where we can support the HR data driven solutions for my clients. So I must deliver this week so that the program people can start doing what they need to do. So I'm a bit under pressure for the moment.
Well, pressure's good. Pressure on coal turns it into diamonds. I don't even believe it when people say that, but there you go. So I won't hold on to you any longer, but I look forward to catching up with you soon. You're always welcome to join us on this live podcast anytime you want.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Azita,
Thank you.
Do you want to say anything? You've been very quiet today, but as always, pulling all the strings and making sure that all the stuff comes together behind the scenes. Anything you want to share today? I'll take that.
Can I talk on? No, I was just going to say on behalf of Aziza, she is incredibly busy doing all the technology in the background. She just sent me a message to say thank you, everybody, for attending and looking forward to everybody coming and joining us next week, as well as on the Q&A session and the Game Changers session this Friday, if I'm not mistaken.
It's this Friday already. My goodness, it flies past very quickly. I've just noticed in our group notes, our WhatsApp group, that yes, she's not going to talk at this moment in time, which is fine as well. So that kind of brings us to you then, Debbie. What do you want to say as a final word on today's session?
Okay, well, for me, it's more the fact that we all need to do things that pay the bills, feed the family, all the responsible things. But I'd like to encourage everybody to do one fun thing for themselves this week that kind of inspires you once again, something that makes your heart leap and get excited with. Like for myself, tonight I am going to an amazing jazz event with somebody in the audience, my lovely mate Ethel. So she's kidnapping me, so that's going to start my week with a musical start.
Ethel, make sure that you do send selfies or pictures at the event. We want to know that you're there. So fantastic. Debbie, as always, it's amazing having you supporting us as part of our panel on stage. And it wouldn't be the same if you didn't turn up and just put me on the right track to the conversations and sometimes wind my neck in when I go too far down any particular tangent. And for everybody who's been in the audience today, it's been a very interesting and very lively conversation. I hope you got some value from it. What we do is we record everything, and I will be broadcasting onto YouTube as soon as I edit it all together. And for those of you in our WhatsApp group, which you're welcome to apply to join, the details are within the comment section or the details of this particular event. I will be sharing with that where you find it. Feel free to go through. There's a lot of stuff in there, a lot of value, and also you'll find a chance to subscribe to my own channel, which will give you access to previous podcasts that we've done on this as well. We do a live session on a Tuesday, which is an interview. We've got one coming up with Monique Russell this weekend. Then we've got newsletters, which you can sign up for. And of course, we come back next Sunday with one of these live broadcasts. So on behalf of all our wonderful panel and all the people in the audience who joined us and contributed just even by being here, it's been amazing having you here. Hope you've learned enough about pitching your business to investors. We always have a title at the beginning of a session, but really more than anything, it's about taking that on board, carrying on doing what you were doing before, but having it with a little bit more confidence and the knowledge that if you are stuck and you're not sure and you're really thinking, I'm a bit lonely, I wish people could help me more, just reach out. You've got a ton of friends here who will be more than happy to help you with ideas, brainstorming, or even just moral support as you go on your journey. So on behalf of them and everybody else out there, I'm going to thank you for being on the broadcast. I'm going to put it to a close today and leave you with my thought that I say every time. Jump and grow wings on the way down. This is your life. There might be nothing that comes afterwards, but this is your time. And as long as you're breathing and as long as you're enjoying it, you are winning. Have an amazing week and I'll catch you soon. Thank you. Goodbye.